Dear students, good evening. This is Dr. Maria Burns, and I'm delighted to share with you a tool mind mapping exercise as part of the Administering the Budget. I truly believe, and you will discover how many solutions you can address, how many challenges you can address with this tool, the mind mapping tool for budgeting. So, first of all, the learning objectives of this video include: what is mind mapping and how do we use it as a problem-solving tool? How does it help us? Why do we use a particular layout? And then what tools can we use to enhance our protocol? This is an innovative method. You can implement it not just for financial and budgeting purposes. You can implement it in any company, any industry, any department. How does mind mapping help us? First of all, it enhances our financial and business decision making by improving our understanding of the problem. Therefore, we have new ways of thinking. It helps us with strategic planning because now we can see the different segments of our company, the goals, previous achievements, but also what steps we have to take. It helps us assess the outcome of different decisions. And this helps very much because usually we need to address short-term problems, but when you use mind mapping, you can also think in a year, 2 years, 5 years. You can plan mid and long term based on these solutions. As we mentioned in class, we need to think outside the box when it comes to variables. So when you start a company which is regional, you may focus on variables that reflect the geography. Let's say we're starting a new branch in Sugarland, your startup, okay, in Sugarland. What is the particularity of the demographics in Sugarland? What are your clients' profile, age-wise, income, preferences, the way they entertain themselves, and so forth? So by zooming into particular geographical locations, you can add specific variables. You can zoom out and think of the whole world. Try to get the pulse of your market. Who is your market? Who is your target audience or potential buyers for the particular product? What you can see in this slide is the typical problem-solving protocol. So first, we define the problem. Let me just maximize the font a little bit. Okay. So the first component has to do with problem definition. Then you brainstorm for potential solutions. You brainstorm with your team members. It's a similar process, just like we do here with mind mapping. And then you evaluate the solutions, you implement the solution, you monitor and control the result. And you have this plan, do, check, act kind of spiral again and again over time. So this is fine as a basic problem-solving tool. The problem with this, it's very linear. When we have a linear process, we can't think outside of the box unless we really implement different brainstorming techniques. The particular mind mapping design reflects our two brain hemispheres. The left brain, for right-handed students or professionals, is the logical brain. This is where our thoughts have a logical sequence. And the linear thinking I mentioned during class, it's like wagons of a train. However, the right brain hemisphere is our most creative one. Starting with a central business objective or a financial goal, the main branches will be your primary categories, just as we covered in class. So you can talk about, your revenue stream, different market segments, or how I'm going to test my product for 6 months as a test, for the buyers to get some feedback and then improve the product. So it's up to you to select, and I'm going to provide step-by-step an analysis of how to do this. Let's start with the theory, and then we'll move on to your case study, okay? Our workshop. We go back into the fundamentals of financing. So what are the factors that influence our financial decisions? First of all, the nature of your industry. What is the industry that your business represents? What is the size of the company? What is the condition of the assets that your company has? For example, do they belong to you? Are they mortgaged? Do you lease them? Do you just use them? A friend allows you, for example, to use some specific software. Do you own company cars? Do you own your office? Or do you lease it? I was thinking, that many famous people are doing a lot of cool things in their garage. So I think there's something to that, right? Then what is your estimated lifespan of your current business? Why I'm saying this? You have to consider the business cycles. In short, you need to understand when it's a good time to buy, when it's a good time to sell. Then, legal entities. What is the legal entity for your company? Do you want it to be limited liability, which I underline it? It's like the first option should be a limited liability for a startup, okay? Do you want it to be publicly trading? So you have some options there about the legal entity. Your lawyer and your accountant can explain all about this. But I would say for a startup, limited liability, because you're getting into uncharted territory. So you don't want any client or any entity to keep an eye on your family asset. How about your loans or any mortgages you have? How about taxation? Is it a good idea? By the way, the state of Texas is amazing when it comes to starting your own company, okay? And of course, the state is going to determine the taxation. Then we move on to the financial marketing. So you need to consider, am I willing to invest? Like, how much am I going to invest and what marketing tools? We'll talk about this later on for your project example. Then you need to also consider the political condition. And of course, in my classes, I'm apolitical. Like, we never talk about politics. We're here to talk about, finance, budgeting. But you understand that a different political party, a different administration will introduce different priorities, different political agendas to introduce new regulations. And that's why the political condition is important. Another element would be economic conditions, like what is the current economic situation in the world, in the country, in the state, but also we can zoom in as much as we want. Like, we are starting up a company, small company in Sugarland. What is the economic condition in Sugarland, okay? So these are the factors that will influence your financial decisions. Let me now start with the example, okay, of a financial mind mapping. You can see in the center, we have the financial plan. So let's cover this first, and then we're going to our workshop, okay? And I'm going to guide you step by step. So you see that for this particular mind map, the financial planning takes center place. So you need to have some ideas. What are the financial goals for this startup? So you can say, I want to buy a new car, company car, okay? I want to start this business. This is just a personal financial map, okay? Financial plan. At this point, create these 5 branches in our mind map. In the center, you write your company name. Stage 1, innovation. You need to select one bullet point from here. That's your prototype design. This is the phase of research and development as I was sketching on the board in class. Select one element. What is the element that puzzles you? What do you want to focus on? The legal setup? Do you want to focus on branding? So select one. Then the second step would be, or stage would be, launch the product. Market testing, analyze one bullet point. So is it the marketing blitz? That's what I selected for our case study, which follows in 2 slides from now, okay? Then post-launch, this is the first 6 months of launching that product. Are you concerned about operational costs or the feedback loops or product refinement? Whatever that is, select one bullet point. And again, stage 4, growth phase of your company, your product. Do you want to hire more people? You want to be strategic about it? Is it about the expansion of your company? So you need to select one bullet point. Is it going to be profit reinvestment, cost optimization, or long-term financial planning? And then after I have selected these items, I just want to show you here in brackets, these are my decisions. I used exactly the same item, copy paste my design here to analyze each of these bullet points. Market research, the innovation component. Remember in class, we mentioned benchmarking. So that's your competitive analysis, the best practices within the industry. And the answer to this is check with your competitors. So you need to compare budgets from similar companies, similar size, similar product, and so forth. So through analysis, you'll be able to come with the best practices. You would just be able to write a couple of words, and then as a team, you would be able to come with these bullet points together. So each one of you could throw an idea, and then the other colleague, the other student would pick up on this idea and expand it a little bit, and then someone else would expand it a little bit. And then the final outcome here is to have these 3 bullet points. We move on to stage 2. The marketing blitz was my selection because I truly believe that there's 2 types of professionals or 2 important functions in any company. Number 1, you need to innovate, so work hard behind the scenes to create an amazing product that is highly innovative. And then you need to have this marketing blast to let the world know about this product. Therefore, how are you going to track, evaluate the efficacy of your marketing campaign? So here we say monitor acquisition costs. So monitor the costs for particular marketing tools. How about your campaign? How can you measure the efficacy of your marketing tools? Are you going to collaborate, have some freebies, maybe have some paid advertisements? You have a lot of choices. It's up to your budget, up to your ingenuity to come up with something that is cost effective and yet highly effective market-wise. Then customer acquisition, you need to target the cheapest channels like marketing channels to get new clients. I mentioned this in class, but I have to repeat it. To acquire a new client is 5 times more costly as opposed to convincing an existing client to return to you. And then the cash flow component, we mentioned this in class so many times that we need to retain liquidity. This word, and I have to say, in the past week, several students have been reaching out to me and we had one-on-one discussions about our class. And many students are asking, some terms I'm learning now, so it's kind of a steep learning curve, but I'm still, trying to learn. So liquidity is a very interesting word. So remember, liquidity is this hot cash that you have Liquefying an asset means I'm selling an asset. But when you have liquidity reserves, this means you have cash flow. Think about it like hot cash. Then we move on to stage 3, product refinement. And this is so important. We track revenue per customer. We want to see the performance. Next, to refine the product, cost allocation. So you may need to change your budget priorities. As an example, when you are rich in cash, you can invest a lot in marketing. Then feedback integration. This is so important, guys. So remember that for feedback, you can ask your clients to fill a survey about, their opinion about the product, how they used it, if it's user-friendly, and so forth. However, many companies are so busy in day-to-day operations, the daily tasks. Many companies are understaffed. If you have a startup, well, sometimes it's a one-person show. It's very likely you're going to be overwhelmed with too many things to do. You would need to integrate that feedback, okay? So take it back in the loop of productivity or production, because you definitely need to refine your product, make it better and better and better. And let's move on to stage 4, the growth phase of your product. So we're talking about investor relations. So here it's very important to convince our investors that we are prudent and efficient in the way we are using their money, okay? Then we can use different models in order to demonstrate scalable economics, so market valuation, and then capital planning components. So we need to be able to optimize the timing of our funding. Everything is time sensitive in business. So you need to be very flexible and, alert. You need to take action fast. Ladies and gentlemen, the outcome of this is that through teamwork, we can create even better results when it comes to our mind mapping. And the reason for this, just like any team building exercise, is the following. Some of you may love accounting and mathematics and analysis. Your brain is into analysis, structure, logic. Some others may love marketing, the business component, how we can convey this message to our clients about how amazing our product is. Some of you may love digital media. So you can say, well, I have some great ideas about content, color, design. I've got it. Some of you are very much into global business. You are familiar with particular countries, particular products, the culture in particular regions where people, because of their culture, are likely to purchase this product versus that. The way that we market our product. Every single person has a unique skill set. And when we put all of these skills together through teamwork, you can have the perfect out-of-the-box solutions for any financial or business challenge. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm ready to post the video, and I look forward to our next class. Thank you, and go Cougs.